Hello everybody, David Tamboro here, and today I'm going to talk about why the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be a massive success at the box office. Since we're now following the beginning of October, and of course since the tickets for the movie are now being on sale, which is honestly crazy to say and think about, I've decided I want to talk about my thoughts on the film's early development, the casting, Jim Henson's Creature Shop doing the animatronics. Man, I still can't believe Scott and Blumhouse got Henson's Creature Shop involved. I also want to talk about cameos, references, Easter eggs, and of course the movie's future success after it's publicly released in theaters everywhere. So anyways, let's get the video started. Now before we get to anything else, I want to talk about an early history of the movie's development. Especially for most of you that are watching this right now that have no idea how long me and other people in the community have waited for this movie. So back in the good old days of 2015, it was announced back in April 7th of that year, which was 3 days before my birthday, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was finally in development. And man, looking back at this news, I feel like an almost 13-year-old kid all over again. And so originally, Warner Brothers was making this movie. You know, Warner Brothers, the greatest Hollywood studio of current year. Anyways, later on we got news of a director who was originally going to direct the movie, which was Gil Keenan. But sadly in 2016 he stepped out of the film. And Gil, if you're watching this right now, I am really sorry you're no longer directing the movie. I am really sorry. Then later on, Gil will be posting teaser hints on his Twitter, and he even took behind-the-scene animatronic photos from Jim Henson's Creature Shop. But then later on, Henson's Creature Shop would finally be involved for the FNaF movie, but that's for a bit down the road. Then anyways, Gil would later step out of the project. Then back in March of 2017, we got the iconic first FNaF movie teaser of an announcement of Blumhouse taking over the project, and even Freddy got to have his own director's chair. I'm sure our boy is still happy if he got to have his own director's chair in the movie. Then later we got an announcement of Chris Columbus, who was also going to direct the movie, but then later in 2021 he stepped out. But later in the coming years we have been getting some hints from Jason Blum and Scott Cawthon themselves about how the movie has been going along. But then later in 2021, Chris stepped out of the project, but then aside to our reliefs, Jason said we are far from giving up. Then later in 2022, this is where the FNaF movie started to see the light of day again, because Jason Blum later said that the movie is still coming, which was really assuring to hear. And then later in March of last year, he had an interview about his projects, and he even talked about the FNaF movie a little bit. And he made an announcement of saying, "We are dangerously close." And I remember losing my when he said this. I am not kidding. And then in May of last year, Jason made an announcement by saying to me and other FNaF fans to stop doubting. And then we got an announcement of Jim Henson's Creature Shop building the animatronics for the movie. And then later in October, which was a year ago now, we got an announcement from Jason by saying to us and reminding us of Henson's Creature Shop being involved. And we finally got news of who's directing the movie and when the movie was filming. Then while we were waiting for a while, the movie finally started filming, and we got hundreds of leaks during the movie's filming. And then in April of this year, we got our first HD look on the movie with Golden Freddy and Abby. Also, remember when some people thought it was regular Freddy? Yeah, me too. Later on, I had a feeling it was Golden Freddy, and I was right. But then in May of this year, we sadly had some 13-year-old kid that actually leaked the original unreleased trailer for the FNaF movie. And if some of you are wondering, yes, I watched the leaked trailer. I couldn't resist, okay? Also, this leaker said he quote-unquote did it for the people. Also, I'm surprised Scott, Blumhouse, and Universal still haven't sued him yet. Thankfully, the exact same month, we finally got our first poster and our first short trailer. And then in June, we got our first full-length trailer, and then in August, we got a second full-length trailer, and boom, here we are now. So yeah, that was a short but sort of simple story for the FNaF movie. Now, since the early development chapter is done, let's move on to the next one, the casting. I gotta say, the casting choices for the FNaF movie was actually really surprising. And also, has it been almost a year already since we got our first casting news? Holy moly, dude. I can't believe it's been that long. Also, I'm not lying when I say this, but when I first heard about Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard being confirmed for the FNaF movie, I was like, who the heck is Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard? Yeah, I know some of you that are watching this right now are probably shocked that I had no idea who these actors are. But then shortly when I looked them up, like when I found that Josh was in the Hunger Games films, and even did the little boy hero in the Polar Express, I was actually really surprised. And then the next day when Dalko, my idol, did the announcement of announcing the next 2 new actresses for the movie, which I'll get to in a minute, and then when he announced that Josh is playing Mike Schmidt in the movie, I was like, yep, that makes perfect sense. And then when I looked at Matthew Lillard when I found that he was in the Scream movies and even did Shaggy in the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, although we don't talk about the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. And when I found out that he even still voices Shaggy, I was actually surprised when I heard about the current voice of Shaggy being in the FNaF movie. And then the next day when Dalko announced about Matthew being the main villain for the FNaF movie, it was just too funny to me. And I still can't believe they got Matthew to be William Afton for the movie. But in all honesty, I still think Willem Dafoe would have made more sense to be William Afton in my opinion. Now look, I know that may be obvious to some of you, but if you look at William's movies and shows he's done over the years, he can be very intimidating just like how William is. Again, I still think Willem Dafoe would have been perfect as William Afton. But whatever. And yes, you can give me your opinions in the comments all you want for me thinking that Willem Dafoe as William Afton would have made more sense. But on the other note, for all the scenes we've seen of Matthew's William Afton so far for the movie, I'm already loving his performance already. Also, I cannot wait to hear Matthew's British accent. Okay, so anyways, for the next 2 actresses for the movie, I was also surprised with these casting choices. Also, I didn't know who Piper Rubio was, or who Mary Stuart Madison was either. Also, when I looked up who Mary was, I was surprised she has done a lot of movies and shows for so many decades. So that is really cool. They got a big actress that has done a lot of stuff for the FNaF movie. And also with all the recent TV spots and ads that have been popping everywhere, I'm surprised we haven't seen anything of her at all. I guess Scott, Universal, and Blumhouse are keeping her character as a secret, I guess. But if you look back at the fridge with the drawing scene from the first full-length trailer, if you look back, you can tell that Josh and Abby's aunt is in this drawing. And I am still curious why their aunt is going to be a second villain. And with Piper, she hasn't done that much stuff either. But you can tell she's really honored to be in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And you can tell she had a lot of fun hanging out with Freddy and the crew. Also, I'm not going to talk about the other actors and actresses we've seen so far for the movie, because it's going to make this chapter in this video way too long. So anyways, let's move on to the next chapter. Okay, there's something short I want to talk about. So after when the first poster, when that teaser trailer that first came out, many people in the community were discussing it and even making memes about the animatronics having red eyes. And even people were making hilarious fan arts of the animatronics doing something I can't say here, cause you know, YouTube will demonetize my video. And during the whole red eye debate, I immediately started making a SFM animation of Bonnie with a cigarette in his hand and making him having red eyes. And I even used the audio from Family Guy. And for those of you that are wondering that I've seen that animation that blew up on TikTok without people crediting me, yes, I made that animation. And shortly after that, it started to blow up everywhere. And there are even animators that even made their own versions of my own video. And I'm giving a shout out to these guys because they deserve it. And it even decently blew up on the FNaF subreddit. Consider myself lucky, am I right? Anyways, I still can't believe that animation of mine blew up. And even people made their own versions of my own animation. Like, that is amazing, guys. Like, thank you. And on the other hand, you guys do know the animatronics had red eyes before, right? And it makes sense for the animatronics to have red eyes, because that way we can realize the animatronics are possessed or angry. And another thing, I still love the memes that me and other people in the community made during the whole red eye situation. So anyways, I want to make a quick chapter about the red eye debate that the community had. So anyways, let's move on to the next one. Now let's talk about Jim Henson's Creature Shop doing the animatronics. Oh boy, here we go. I'm really looking forward to talk about this. And by the way, Jim Henson's Creature Shop doing the animatronics for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was actually teased before Jason Blum announced this, and before Blumhouse took over the project. For those of you that don't know, back when Gil Keenan, who was originally going to direct the movie, actually did post behind the scene images of animatronics at Jim Henson's Creature Shop, which was a hint for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And yes, he's also the same guy that posted these old FNaF movie teaser hints back in 2015. You remember seeing those teasers back in the day, don't you? I do. I most certainly do. And man, I feel like a 13-year-old kid all over again. And the fact that Scott kept that contract with Henson's Creature Shop to do the animatronics before Blumhouse took over, and before they were officially getting the movie ready, it is still insane. It's been like over a year already since Jason made this announcement, and I still can't believe it. Like imagine this for a second. The exact same company that brought us the Muppets, Sesame Street, Fraggle Walk, Dinosaurs, Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal, and many more. Just imagine the exact same company that brought us those IPs and brought us so many amazing memories doing the animatronics for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That is insane to say and think about at the same time. And I guess Freddy Fazbear is now a Henson character, I guess. And for all the footage and screenshots we've seen of these guys so far, I'm already relieved and happy for an amazing job the Jim Henson Company has done. And there's even some scenes where the animatronics look so cute. Like this one right here on your screen right now. That is adorable. How is that scary? Anyways, I really want to see these guys in person someday. And also, I heard apparently that each of these guys took 15 months to make, which is absolutely insane. And I also heard apparently that Foxy took 6 puppeteers to operate him, which is really crazy. In all honesty, I was curious how they were going to move his arms and legs in the movie, so there's that. So anyways, big props to the people at Henson's Creature Shop for taking time and effort into these guys. Totally worth it for them. Now let's move to the next chapter. Now in this chapter, I'm going to be talking about references, Easter eggs, and even cameos we've seen so far. Now from the start, I knew that not only we were going to get references and Easter eggs from the previous games in the series in this film, but I knew that we were going to get YouTube cameos. Cause come on, if it weren't for these FNAF YouTubers, they wouldn't have made this franchise as big and successful like it is right now, and they would have made Scott's future success even bigger. And to any of you FNAF YouTubers that are watching this right now, I love you all. Now first off, let's get right to all the Easter eggs and references we've seen from each and every trailer we've seen so far. So let's start to the first trailer, then I'll move on to the next ones. So first off, in the VHS tapes, we can see more of the iconic drinks, and even we get to see the iconic party hats. And I'm already getting the feels, man, I swear. Also, this kid has a official licensed Sanchi Foxy plush, and you can tell that Sanchi is so honored seeing their own merch in the movie. Even Fonka. And we even get to see balloons around the location. And it feels like FNAF 2 with the balloons all over again. Also, they even brought back the deluxe ball pit from FNAF 6, and even one of the Fazbear Fright stories into the pit. That is crazy that Blumhouse actually did that. Also next to the stage with this manager, they brought back the Showtime button from Help Wanted. I'm so glad the Showtime button will have its time to shine after the last 4 years it was sadly scratched off. And the stage with Freddy the band performing, it almost looks a lot like the original FNAF gameplay trailer. Also we have the iconic clouds in the walls, and they even brought back the iconic brick walls from the original game teaser, which is actually really cool. And in the dining room we can see the prize counter from Help Wanted, and all the way on the left we can see the drawings on the wall. And come on, it can't be a FNAF movie without the drawings. And now in the office, we have the iconic Celebrate poster, although I don't know why Scott and Blumhouse didn't recreate the Celebrate poster with the movie animatronics. But whatever. We also have the iconic red swirly drink. We of course have the fan, cause come on. It can't be a FNAF movie without the iconic fan. And we also have scrumbled paper all over the desk. And it's crazy they were able to replicate the original scrumbled paper from the games. And with the cameras, that is so cool they replicated the original show stage camera from the first game. I'm gonna cry. Now let's move on to the first full-length trailer. Now in this one, we get a lot of Easter eggs, references, and cameos in this one. But I'll get to the cameos a little later. Now with this scene of Abby watching TV, imagine if she watches like Fazbear Friends or Freddy and Friends on tour on the TV. Now that would be a really cool reference. We also get the sun clock from Sister Location. Although it's really weird that Mike has the sun clock, and he's not even related to William Afton. How strange. And also with this bear that Abby is holding, it could possibly mean either Golden Freddy or Fredbear. We also get to see the Employees Only sign from FNaF 1. It's amazing that they got the Employees Only sign back. We also have the vents from FNaF 2, which was the first FNaF game to have vents and then later reused in later FNaF games. And we even have like reds in the vents, and maybe it's like a reference to Five Nights at Candy's. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's supposed to be a reference to the rat from Five Nights at Candy's. Because there's even like FNaF YouTuber cameos, although I'll get back to that later. And also, if you look closely next to Mike, you can see a coffee machine. And I bet it's a Desolate Hope reference. In this scene right here, we have the Gumball machines from FNaF 6 and Help Wanted. And right here, you can see a Funko Bonnie plush, which is interesting to see. And with this shot of the prize counter, it almost looks exactly like the prize counter from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Like, you can almost see it in your head. In the back of the office, Scott and Blumhouse brought back the lockers from Help Wanted, which is actually really cool. And with this scene of this group, this character named Cole, which is a coincidence with the cupcake, because us fans called him Cole the Cupcake. This kid actually has a shirt of the Midnight Motorist shirt from FNaF 6, which is interesting to see. And we even get some Spring Bonnie references in the movie, which is really cool to see. Although it is representing William. And with this car, it looks a lot like William Afton's car from the FNaF 2 minigame segments. It even has the exact same car shape when you look at it side to side. And in this mall scene, we actually had a behind the scenes photo of Chica's Magic Rainbow Easter egg. Although I don't want to show it because, you know, Universal might take this video down for showing behind the scenes photos. But as a FNaF World veteran, this is a huge honor for me. And we even get to see the movie version of William's Springlock suit. It's still surreal to me that we're officially seeing a Spring Bonnie costume in the movie. And then later on we get a Corey Kenshin in the movie, although I'll get back to you later. And then we get Golden Freddy, and he looks amazing. I honestly prefer Golden Freddy's movie design than the original Golden Freddy design. I am not kidding. I honestly prefer this design. Also, I love how he looks like FNaF 2 Golden Freddy, and I love how he even has like a Sans Undertale eye. For the next trailer, we get a few more Easter eggs. In the shot with the prize count, we actually see a Toy Chica Hex plushie, which is interesting. And if you look closely on the left, we see the rocket ride from FNaF 6, then later used again in Security Breach. And with this shot of Freddy staring menacingly, it looks just like the iconic secret Easter egg where Freddy has vein eyes. I'm getting the nostalgic feels already just looking at it. We even get to see Foxy running towards Mike, which is actually heart-pounding to see. And with this scene with William in a Springlock suit, at first I thought it was an Easter egg of Glitch Trap's high animation, but no, I was wrong. Now with the cameos. I'm gonna say this again. I knew they were gonna bring famous FNaF YouTubers to the set and have cameos. And I still can't believe that Doko, the Ryans, and Razabowski took photos with Scott. And they even got to meet and took photos with the animatronics. And I still can't believe they got my boy Corey in the movie. Also, I'm surprised Golden Freddy doesn't even attack Corey. I guess he's secretly a big fan, I guess. Also with Golden Freddy, we're not entirely sure if he's going to be good at Abby like with Glamlock Freddy and Gregory, or if Golden Freddy will betray Abby. We may never know. Also, there's been hints for so many years about Markiplier and MatPat having cameos in the movie. And it's possible. I mean, Scott made a big deal of bringing famous FNaF YouTubers to the set and everything. So I don't see why he can't have Markiplier and MatPat in the movie. Oh, and speaking of cameos, where's Jack Black, Jason Blum? Also, I really do hope that Scott Cawthon gets a cameo and even reprises his role as Phone Guy. Kind of like similar to Charles Martinet's cameo and his dad role in the Mario movie. That would be really awesome and heartwarming to see on the big screen. And now, after a long talk on this chapter, now let's move on to the next one that fully discusses the topic on this video. I'm now going to explain to you why the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be a massive, massive success. Now, in this next chapter, you're probably wondering why me and a lot of other people realize that the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be massive for not only for Scott and even for video game movies, but also for Blumhouse and even Universal. Now, over the last several years now, me and a lot of people have been asking ourselves, how do you make a Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Even in recent years with later video games and even books that came out recently, there's still been a few times where we try to figure out how a universe like this could work as a movie. And the fact that this movie has been in development for 8.5 years now and lost a few directors and tossed away like dozens of scripts over the years, but Scott and the others kept on going and trying, and seeing how much Scott still cares about his own IP and even his own movie, it has been really hard and challenging for us fans to watch. And everything we've seen on this movie so far, I'm loving every single thing in this movie so far. Like Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard, the animatronics, the pizzeria, the references, the cameos. Everything is looking exactly what a Five Nights at Freddy's movie should be. And also like 6 months ago now when we had our first teaser image on the movie, and man, I can't believe it's been half a year already. Like all of a sudden this teaser image blew up like crazy. And even on Blumhouse's Instagram, this post that you're seeing right now has over 1 million likes. So the fact that this teaser image immediately blew up, and the fact that the people are talking about this movie again, and still have high hopes in this movie after this movie being in development after the last 8.5 years, that is very heartwarming to see. Because we all know how hard and challenging it was for Scott and Blumhouse trying to find the perfect script, story, and even finding a director on this movie. And the development of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be inspiration for a lot of people that want to make movies, shows, and even becoming a great writer even. Also, with the recent ticket sales that have been going on for this movie, I heard apparently that Jason Blum said that the ticket sales already passed its movie's budget, which is very relieving to hear. In all honesty, I could already see this movie immediately passing over $1 billion at the box office. Because let me tell you this real quick. Who is the most recognizable face in horror video games, huh? Who is the most well-known character of horror mascots in horror games? And who's the Mickey Mouse of horror game mascots nowadays? You got that right. It's my boy, Freddy Fazbear himself. Freddy Fazbear is easily the most well-known horror game character of all time. And after the last 9 years now, he still dominates the indie horror game industry. And no, not you, Huggy Wuggy. Especially with how well-known this character is, he could easily make the budget on this movie really big at the box office. Maybe this movie might pass over $1 billion. Who knows? With all the recent advertisements that Universal and Blumhouse have been putting out, this is a huge relief and very heartwarming to see. And thanks to these advertisements, Universal and Blumhouse can easily get a lot of people in theaters, especially for how big Five Nights at Freddy's still is. And I know most people are not going to see this movie on Peacock first because, come on, who has Peacock, am I right? And with all the recent advertisements going on, there is a huge chance for this movie being a massive success right now. And I know you that are watching this right now are so excited for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And I'm going to say this right now. Everyone is going to see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And yes, I do mean everyone. And as for Blumhouse, if they want to make more FNaF movies and possibly shows even, because not only is Blumhouse known for movies, but they're also known for TV shows. If they want to expand the FNaF cinematic universe, I wouldn't be surprised really, because we already know that a second and third movie is happening. And if they want to do some stuff with the other games like FNaF 4, etc., in all honesty, I don't really see those later games as movies, but I can see them as a TV series. And it makes sense for the later FNaF games to be a TV series than a movie. If Blumhouse wants to do their own take on FNaF 4, then boom! A Five Nights at Freddy's 4 TV series. If they want to do something for Sister Location, then we get a Sister Location TV series. Simple as that. If they want to make a Pizzeria Simulator TV series and bring back Matthew Lillard to be William Afton, then there we go! A FNaF 6 TV series. Or a Security Breach having a TV series. A Security Breach TV series is a real possibility. What an amazing universe we would live in if that happens, am I right? In conclusion, we already know that the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be massive. Even recently, how well video games have been going, even recently with how amazing the Mario movie did earlier this year, this is the perfect time for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie to be released. And this 8-year development on this movie was totally worth it. Also, let's pause for a moment and think back how long we waited on this movie and the crazy development ride we've all experienced, shall we? Alright, that's enough. So yeah, that was my video on why I know the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be a massive success. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye.